NKCS Art. Today we're going to be abstracting some art to make what we call folk art. First I'm going to get my Sharpie tool and I'm going to go to about a 10 and I'm going to draw my ground, kind of a hilly ground in the background, and then I'm going to fill the bottom page with different lines. They can be kind of curvy, they don't have to be exactly straight. Some curves might show some more interest in the design at the bottom. Make sure that your lines are touching, because if we go back in and fill this in later with color, you don't want it to spill out all over your paper. After I get the ground done, I'm going to, I missed a piece there, go back up to the trees, and I'm going to make my lines for the bottom of the tree, then a big circle around the top. Oh, let me fix that one, the stripe was messed up. And then I am going to go ahead and put in another tree, the same way I did that one. It's really close to the other tree, so I'm just going to make it look like it's going behind that tree. Go back in and make sure I have all my lines touching. On this side, on the right side of the paper, I'm going to make a house. So I'm just going to put like a little square there. I'm going to add some doors in the front. And I'm making sure my lines are touching again because I'm going to fill it in with color later. Add the roof. Oops, let me fix that a little bit. Add the roof to the top. We'll put a little design right in the middle of the roof. Then I'm going to zoom back out. And then I'm going to go ahead and start filling all of my sections, the spaces I created, with some type of a pattern. Here I'm going to be using zigzag pattern, and in each picture I'm going to choose a different kind of pattern, maybe polka dot, stripes, swirls, plaid. And I want a different pattern in every section I have. On my trees I'm going to go ahead and make some sections inside of there just by adding some more circles. Creating some lines in some of my other spaces, some hearts. And I zoom in and out because sometimes these patterns are really tiny. I even lowered my pen down to about a 5 to create some of them. When you're working with a space this tiny, zooming in helps out quite a lot. After you get all of your patterns put in there, you're going to go up and select color. You can use the paint bucket tool at the top to fill in your designs with the different colors that you'd like. I'm going to leave a few spaces because on mine in a little bit I'm going to go back and create a layer so that I can do some watercolor painting techniques just to give it a little bit more, a little bit different design. I'm filling in my patterns. Make sure I do my house too. I like to use bright colors because in folk art they tend to use bright contrasting colors. Complementary colors work well. Those are the colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel, such as orange and blue, red and green, yellow and purple. Those bright colors tend to make things stand out. I'm kind of going with colors that are almost appear to be neon. And go through and fill in the rest of my designs with their colors. On my patterns, I'm just alternating the colors and going back in and picking a new one. And if you're doing this, if it ends up making your whole page one color, that means there's a line that's not connecting somewhere, so the paint's spilling out. Just use the back arrow and then see if you can find which line it is. Zoom in and then just go ahead and fix it with your Sharpie tool, and then your paint will fill in just fine without messing up your whole picture. Let's see, I think after I fill these in, I'm going to try to do a watercolor effect. So I'm going to add a layer, and I'm going to push down on that layer and drag it underneath my drawing, because I don't want the watercolor to paint right on top of what I just made. I'm going to make sure that blue frame is around the new page underneath. That means that's the page I'm working on. And I'm going to get my watercolor brush, kind of adjust the sizes to where I think I'd like it. And if I try it out and it's too big or too small, I can always go back and readjust it. Pick some colors. I'm going to pick blue for the sky, and then just kind of go back in and fill the sky. Oh, wait, I was on top of the layer with my picture. I want to make sure I'm on the layer underneath my picture. Now, the reason it shows up behind the trees is because I haven't filled it in with any color. So I'm going to kind of avoid the tree bark, the tree trunks over there. Add some yellow for some sun at the top. Then I'm going to pick some different colors and go back in and fill in my tree trunks. It just gives it a kind of a different effect and makes it a little more interesting if you want to use the watercolor method on the back. And then the areas where I didn't paint and I left it white, I can go back in and fill those in with kind of a watercolor technique. Again, make sure you're on that bottom page that you just created and move down there, or else you're just coloring over the top of your picture. Once I get these filled in, I go back. I notice I still have a few lines, a few patterns I didn't quite fill in yet. Ooh, I need to make sure I'm on the right layer, so I'm going to go back up to the top layer where my picture is, the top page, and just go ahead and continue to fill in the rest of the colors on my design. I'm just using the paint bucket tool again to do this. I'm not using my watercolor brush. I missed some lines over, there you go. Fill in those lines. Zoom in. Sometimes little spaces are hard to touch with your fingers, so zooming in helps a lot. Once I get my work done, I'm going to go up to the T and type in my first name and my class code. So like if you were in first grade Porter, it would be 1 Porter or 1P. Find a spot where I can see my name. And then I'm going to go up to the 3 lines and go to Gallery. And, oh, actually, it looks like go to Share, and then I can save image. That's an easier way to do it.